Walmart slash Walmart slash, used to be our food over in Scandinavia. Let's see how we can do it with a long nose KW. Try not to total that person's car. Let's first talk to the dude. 90 XP, same old spot. Oh, okay, that's way too close. Don't remember there being cars here last time. But let's give her a try. This is not a 53-foot reefer, it's most likely a 48, so it's not going to be the hardest thing. Vehicle. All right. I was playing multiplayer a while back, and I saw somebody trying to back into this place, and he was way too far to that side there. He needs to get kind of in the middle and start jackknifing the trailer that way ahead of time. This might have been a little too far ahead of time. He was just way over there and trying to get the trailer to move over, and it wouldn't. Kept backing against that pole. I'm used to the dirt. This will be just fine. We're a little bit close to that wall. Just a little bit. Oop, too close. That's the thing, you cannot see the trailer. There's those big covers on the exhaust, and that's not right. You can see the side of the sleeper, I think the side of the sleeper, but they're not that wide in real life on a W900L. Am I gonna hit my mirror? No. Okay, I'm just a little bit close to that building there. We can do better. There, much better. Bam! Oh yeah. Alright, not perfect, but still pretty good. Alright. Actually, you know what? This is a pretty good place to start an episode. I haven't hauled freight with this truck in front of you guys yet. But I have been hauling with this truck quite a bit, actually. I've leveled up a few times, and I got those 11 chicken lights on top of the cab, or on top of the sleeper, and the 7 on top of the cab, and those 2-inch LEDs on the sides and on the air breathers as well. The thing is, this is all post-narration because what had happened is, for some reason, my settings seems to have changed by themselves magically on Bandicam. Yay, technology! And so now, for some reason, it didn't mix both audio tracks of the game and my voice into one, and it wouldn't show up on red for some reason. If I moved the video over to the Acinator, it would play both tracks. So I recorded my voice, I recorded the sound on the Acinator, and then I overlaid it onto the existing video. So there will be probably some small audio slips. And actually, I recorded 3 episodes before I noticed this, so the next 2 episodes I may have to do the same thing, but it's a lot of work, so I'll probably figure something else out. Probably just speed them up and forget about narration at all. Alright, we already picked out this load. It's the shortest load, but I don't want to bore you guys, because I run out of stuff to talk quick. I mean, I could babble on. Ooh, it's the long one. Cool. we'll see where we have to back this sucker into. But because I could babble on all week long about trucks and engines and old vehicles and yeah, classic cars, all kinds of stuff like that. Not necessarily classic cars, but old Fords anyways, I have a fair bit of knowledge about. Probably not a whole lot. I could babble on a lot about all kinds of stuff, and let's face it, that's what I'm doing now. But you guys probably don't want to hear it all. But if you do, tell you what, let me know and I might be able to babble on about something. But like I said, I have limited knowledge in a few subjects. I'm not into most of the new stuff people are doing these days. Yeah, 53 footer looks much more proper behind a long truck like this. That's one thing that's kind of strange. You would rarely see like a 48 footer. I mean, every once in a while you see they'd have a 48 footer, but for the most part they'd all be 53s. But those little single axle 28 foot trailers, those are actually would be somewhat common because they use them quite a bit in like road trains, or just pull two of them. Because that, what was that? What rubbish was this? See, this is what I'm talking about. The sat nav. It wanted me to take this little round thing and make two right turns instead of go straight one time into right. But whatever. But yeah, because I could see you pulling like one 28 footer, because lots of the times what they have is they have two 28 footers hooked together in an A-train, which I saw a mod. It was supposed to mimic one of those, and it looked right, but it was still just one trailer. It wouldn't turn. It wouldn't turn in the middle, and that didn't sit right. I didn't like that. Oh, come on, light! Don't do this to me. Stop. Still haven't got my paint job. Oh, you know what? I just remembered something for me to rant on about. Where is it? It's over here in the truck browser. Okay, step 1. No air windbreaker. Okay, look. At level 18, you get a 625 Caterpillar C15, which honestly I'm confused about, because how did they get the license for Caterpillar? And Caterpillar quit making on-highway diesel engines back in like 2007, when everybody else had to start putting the, maybe 2008, I don't know, but when everyone else started putting the regen, that DPF, diesel particulate filter, on their trucks, Cat just gave up and said, no thanks. I heard a rumor that they had to make a 1,000 horsepower engine just to get 500 to the ground with all the junk they had to put on there to meet pollution control. But here you see level 12, 500 horsepower, 1650 torque. You go to one of these two trucks, and you have level 12, 500 horsepower, 1850 torque in a Pack Car MX yet. If you ask me, what they should have done is they should have kept something similar to this. And here's another thing. Okay, 550, 1850 is the biggest you can get in one of the Aero trucks. But you go back to the W9, and you can get that same Cummins ISX-15 at 600 horsepower and 2050 torque at a lower level yet. I think what they should have done, because Cummins ISX-15, they have a 500 horsepower, 1850 torque. I would say rearrange. The truck should have basically the same engines. Now, I would understand, like, I know the International Pro Star. Let's get on down the road. I can put some miles down while I talk. Or I could sit here at a stoplight. That's what I was doing. But the International Pro Star, you have to get it with like a 13-liter engine. The Max Force 13, or I don't know what. And they were talking about they're going to get a 15-liter engine, because bigger engines are the way to go. But they're going to have to make, it was going to be a slightly different model. It was going to be International Pro Star Plus, because they couldn't fit the big engine in there. But clearly, you can see they have the Pack Car MX-13, the ISX-12, I believe, the smallest engine in the game. that little Cummins, the Packard MX, which are both 13-ish liter engines, and then you have the big ISX 15. So you obviously can fit up railroad crossing. Let's not do the same thing. Let's not wreck our truck. But you should be able to get all the engines. Like, we'll leave the Caterpillar C15 out of this because I'm assuming the only way you can get that in this truck is, say, you ordered a glider, which is a truck that does not have an engine. I think at one point it wasn't with a transmission or axles, but at least in principle it's a truck without an engine, so you can put your own older grandfathers out the truck to where you don't have to have the pollution control. You can have an older, more reliable engine, so you don't run into a lot of issues with those new age pollution control. So you can have your old reliable engine that's easier to repair, cheaper to repair, and won't break down as often, and it's altogether good stuff. So we're just going to assume you have to get a glider. Well, I guess you could just decide to pull out the new engine and put an older one in. But I guess we're just going to say it's a salvage motor or a rebuilt, remanufactured one I found lying around. But we're going to that one for this conversation here. But let's go back and look at those. Truck browser. Okay, engines. I think it should be something more along the lines of this right here. I would say have this a 1750 torque and then whatever horsepower it would need to be for it to be a 1750, and have the 1850 be the 550 Cummins right away at a lower level. I'd say level 14, and then from there you have the 600 horsepower at level 16, and I guess you could have the 625, but it still makes the same torque. I don't see what the big deal is with the Cat. I think Cat's a good motor, but I prefer the Cummins. And the 25 horsepower, they say you can't feel it. I'm sure it would make... see, I'm not sure. It's the same torque. I'm like, okay, whoop-de-doo. You can find, say, Detroit motors. At least the old Series 60, they were not famous for being very torquey engines. Let's say a 455 horse, 12.7 liter Series 60 Detroit with 1,550 foot-pounds of torque, and then you have a 435 horse Caterpillar C15 that makes 1650 torque. That Cat is going to really show that little Detroit who's boss. So the horsepower in a truck, I don't think it makes a whole bunch of difference. Let's just go on the grass here. Doesn't make a huge difference. I think it basically operates as a reference. Okay, you say 600 horsepower, that automatically means 2,050 foot-pounds of torque. You say 550, that means 1,850 foot-pounds of torque. Usually in the 400s, like 425 and 450. And like 475 or 460 are all usually around 1650. Sometimes you find a 1750 in there. But that's what I use horsepower as. It's basically a reference. Although it probably does make some difference, because over at work we had a truck. It was a C15 Acert twin turbo that was set at 435 horsepower. The computer went out on it to where they had to buy a new computer, and that they just found a guy. He had a computer lying around, so they took that computer and they installed it on this engine, and that was a 475 horsepower, but still a 1650 torque. And I did drive it after that. It's not my normal truck that I drive, but I noticed it was pushing a little bit more turbo boost, and it also, I won't say felt a lot better, but it felt, I think it felt just a little bit better, like it pulled a little bit more. And like I said, you can see on the turbo boost gauge it was pushing more boost. It went up to, I believe, 47 pounds of turbo boost. And that's one thing the twin turbos have. They make a lot of boost. They also create a lot of drag because you have to push that exhaust through both of the little turbos. I honestly wouldn't get a twin turbo, but that's beside the point. That's me rambling on about other things right away. But I guess it would make some difference with the horsepower, but I think torque is what the bottom line, that's what you need. And a little bit of more or less horsepower will make a very slight difference. It's all about that torque. Alright, coming up on this little place here. 35. Back when they released this W900, or were saying they're going to release it soon, they were mentioning how they had worked on this truck since the beginning of development for ATS. But they showed it to Kenworth right away, and Kenworth was like, we didn't want you to... Either way, they weren't too thrilled about it, because they're like, ooh, they're supposed to be, we make very amazing aerodynamic trucks, and we're a leader in the aerodynamic truck field. Why? Argument-winning picture right there. What you saw. That really annoyed me. Come on, Kenworth. You're making... I would say you still have the Peterbilt 389, but technically that's a different model. It uses the same cab, and they basically just have different headlights from the 379. That's the iconic one, the 379. The 389 is slightly different, but this W900L has been around since in the 90s. It's the last remaining same model. And really, having the same number doesn't really matter, but it's for sure my favorite classic truck that they're still cranking out today. And then you just want to say, oh, we want aerodynamic trucks, which, no thanks. Okay, let's pull in the scale. Probably heard what I said. I'm going to give you a thorough inspection. That's alright. Everything's in order. Stop. Ooh, I thought I overran that. Signal off. Surprising they're open this late at night. One thing I also have noticed about driving this truck is it has a lot more turbo whistle. You can hear the turbo a lot more than an aero truck, which is absolutely a good thing. Love the turbo whistle. Alright, hour to our destination. There are some mods out there already. Something like an engine mod. It adds a couple new engines. I think it was before, it came out before the W900, so it didn't quite work. But I worked on it a little bit. No, this is not where I'm turning. Playing follow the leader right away. But I had messed with it a little bit, and I actually got it working on the W9 and cranked it up to 2,000 horsepower right away, so that'd be... I don't know how much foot-pounds of torque that would be, but that was 5,000 newton meters. Not 5,000, 10,000 newton meters. Back in ETS, there was a mod, Scania R1000. It's supposed to be 1,000 horsepower. It had 5,000 newton meters. Okay, so 5,000 would be 1,000 horsepower. In all honesty, as you go higher in the horsepower, your torque per horsepower tends to go down. Say, according to Pittsburgh Power, they had built an engine back, I believe, in the 90s, which really wasn't built. They put in different injectors, turbo, and reprogrammed the computer, and it was 1,000 horsepower Cummins N14. Need lower gear. But 1,000 horsepower Cummins N14, and what was it exactly? 2,700 foot-pounds of torque at 1,000 horsepower. Whereas a 600 horsepower would be 2,050. So that extra, 400 horsepower only added 650 foot-pounds of torque. And like I was saying earlier, Cummins is now making a 500 horsepower, 1850 torque truck, or engine. And at that math, which is, I think, 2,508. I'm getting sleepy. Thankfully, I'm delivering here. But at 2,508 newton meters of torque, that's pretty much 1850 foot-pounds of torque. And at 500 horsepower, okay, so just double that, you get 5,000. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Alright, how are these people going to want me to get in here? Well, it doesn't look so hard. Okay, this is supposed to be a difficult parking spot. I may eat those words here in a second, but let's find out. I doubt it. Hopefully there's nothing in between me and that Bobcat. What am I even hauling? What do they need? Sawdust panels. Plywood, in other words. Let's not hit their barrels. That'd be bad. Okay, guys. I find this kind of... I wouldn't say disappointing, but... My parking is disappointing. That's what that was. But for a 90 XP spot, the 3-star, that's something I've noticed since the update. The difficult, like, where do you want it style, parking, but the more difficult 90 experience ones, they always have in that little box there that I blocked. Let's see if I can move without crashing. There you can see they have 3 stars. The 40 experience, they all have 2 stars, and I'm guessing the Let's Play It Safe has 1 star. But for a 3-star parking spot, it's not that bad. And then the longest trailer, 53-foot curtain trailer, and Kenworth W900. I don't know. I'm starting to think that might have been slightly off. Alright, excellent! Almost level 13. When I get to level... what was it again? 14? 16. When I hit level 16, then I'm going to be hitting multiplayer again with that big 600 Cummins. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and until next time, y'all have a good one.